our lovely co-host, the one and only Vicky. Vic, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Joe?
Doing good. We have some things to talk about here as the San Antonio Spurs started their week by cutting one Luka Samanic. That happened
Yes.
right after the Orlando game. The day
Right.
after the Orlando game is when they announced that they were going to go ahead and cut Luka Samanic. And I think I saw from the latest update on that, per Paul Garcia, our good friend Paul Garcia of Project Spurs, that he did clear waivers and nobody did pick him up. So does that say that his
Oh no.
NBA career is come to an end, or do you think that his career can still continue, but it might not be with the NBA? It might be overseas. What are your thoughts, Vicky?
I kind of agree. I know that a lot of people were upset right after the announcement was made, but I know everyone, even those people who were upset, had to see it coming. It's been sort of that, quiet little like thing going on, sort of the elephant in the room. Like, where does he stand with all the other talented forwards that the Spurs had acquired, and the fact that he still really hadn't shown much, not enough, I think, in order to make a statement and kind of secure his spot on the team. I think it's really disappointing because if he had been sort of the same level of everything, sort of his same level of play, everything on a team that was maybe, had made the playoffs last year, I think he would have been recognized by other teams. But because of the fact that the Spurs were lower on the table, there's not really much attention or sort of buzz going around about the Spurs. His name sort of has just fallen off. And it's unfortunate because I think he does have something to offer. But I think there was always just something missing, at least in terms of him with the Spurs, with the current lineups. It doesn't surprise me that he's gone, but it does kind of surprise me that he hasn't, nobody made an offer. Seems like kind of like young talent just going to waste.
Yeah, well, there's still time for a team to pick him up. I mean, he is a unrestricted free agent, so anybody can go ahead and pick him
Hopefully.
up at any time. It's not like
Yeah.
we own the bird rights to him at this point in time. We've kind of
Right.
parted ways. He's cleared waivers. He can be picked up by any other team that might be looking to fill the roster. Their roster spot with somebody like one Luka Samanic. So we're gonna have to wait and see if, in fact, he does get picked up by another NBA team, and if he does, maybe that change of scenery there might do him some good. Not to say that the kid is a total bust at this point. He was
No.
just not a right fit with the San Antonio Spurs. So he moves on to the next phase of his career, and we wish him well. Hopefully, he can still make a career out of
Definitely.
things. He's only 21.
Hopefully.
Or,
I know, he's really not. It stinks. I feel like, he could have done more.
he could have done more. That's why it's important to make the most of your opportunities when you're out there on the court. And speaking of that, we're
Mhm.
going to go ahead and transition into Josh Primo talk. And
Yes.
this kid has made the most of his opportunities while he's been on the court. I've looked at him, during the summer league. I was like, okay, let me give the kid a chance. Let's see what he can do. Kid looked great in summer league. Then he's in preseason play. He comes out and immediately has an impact. So I'm like, okay, kid had a good game. Then he plays again. Kid had a good game, and I'm looking at him in preseason. I'm like, okay, this kid is showing me something. He's got a lot of confidence in himself. He's just having fun, always smiling. That's the one thing
Yes,
that I always
yes.
notice about him. He's just so happy to be out there, always smiling. I think he has that infectious energy that he's always so positive and happy that it just kind of trickles down to everybody else. You can't help but smile when you see the kid, and
Right,
feel good
yeah.
for him. And another thing is, we saw him in the silver and black scrimmage that they had yesterday. They had the game streaming on social media so everybody could see. And I was looking at the kid, and one of the things that stood out at me is that he just shoots the ball with a lot of confidence. I mean, he looks ready now. That's the scary
Yes,
part,
he
is that
does.
he's only going to be what, 19, and he looks ready now. And everybody's saying, "Hey, we want to see this kid play." I have to say, I think he has a very bright future, Vicky. I'm high on
Yes.
Josh Primo. Originally when it was first announced that the Spurs picked him, everybody was scratching their head saying,
Yes.
"What is going on? What happened?" You know?
Yeah.
And now that we've seen him, through the summer league, preseason, and now the silver and black scrimmage, everybody's changed their tune and they're like, "We need to see more of Josh Primo." And I'm one of those people. I want to see more of Josh Primo. And I got to ask you the
Yes.
question: do you think
Yes.
this kid is the real deal, Vicky? What are your thoughts on Primo?
I do, I really do. I guess was skeptical with the draft and then seeing him in the summer league, I was like, "Of course he's gonna do well, everyone, all the rookies do well." But seeing him in the preseason, seeing him alongside the guys yesterday, I got to watch the stream, he just fits in so well. He looks confident, he's consistent, he can do he he just posts up and it's like, like you're watching a veteran kid play. He's got versatility. He's got a lot going for him, and I think that I mean, if I could have my say, I know that I'm a huge, fan of the G League and getting them the development that they need, but I think that he really could quickly move out of playing in the G League into playing with this team, with a pretty heavy responsible heavy responsibility type role. I think he's definitely got what it takes, and I think that all the guys sort of recognize that. It looks like they see his potential and they want to see more of it, which of course I think all of us want to see more of that, more of his drive and energy and just I mean, I'm really excited for the season to start.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see what Josh Primo can do. And I'm gonna look because I'm pretty sure he's gonna be playing a heavy bevy of minutes over with the Austin Spurs over in the G League. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on his career because, like I said, I think the kid's future is very bright. And from the limited time that we've seen out of one Josh Primo, it's something to get excited about if you're a Spurs fan. You have a great young talent in Josh Primo, and hopefully he can go ahead and develop ahead of schedule, be inserted into the Spurs lineup at some point, and really, give this team a chance to, you know, start getting some wins and maybe making a I don't know, at some point in time, a push to get back to the playoffs. And I think that the future is bright for
Yes.
Primo. And again, you just love the kid, and hopefully they can go ahead and get him in there in the lineup sooner rather than later. But let's also talk about the silver and black scrimmage game. This has been a fan favorite for many seasons, and the last two seasons, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Spurs have not been able to put this,
Mhm.
fan favorite scrimmage together, the silver and black scrimmage. And it's open to the public. It's free. You have free parking, free admission. It's on a first come first serve basis, and believe me, there's a lot of great seats available, all in the lower bowl. You know, they also have like dollar beer night, dollar drinks as far as like refreshments, as far as soda goes, and I think hot dogs and some other stuff that they give out there for $1. But it's very family oriented, and it's an opportunity for everyone in the community to come out and actually get to see the team, because let's face it, not everybody has the ability to go ahead and buy these tickets, because the tickets are gone up in price compared to how they were in years past. So if you have a family of
Yeah.
5, and you're barely able to you know support your family and put food on the table, going to a Spurs game is the last thing on your mind, especially at 20,
Right.
$30 a ticket, after, all the fees that Ticketmaster charges, plus the 20 something dollars that you're going to have to pay for parking. By the end of the night, I mean, you're already going to wind up spending somewhere around 250, just to have a
Ugh,
good time.
yes.
And I get that. That's a big deal for a lot of families. So by them
Yeah.
being able to come in and, check out a game bring the whole family, and it's a scrimmage, but it's still fun. And I like the way that the Spurs showcase a lot of the fans, because the fans like to come out and this is their opportunity to get all decked out in Spurs gear. And I saw some faces that I'm used to seeing, the usual
Mhm.
suspects. And there was one guy that I know, he calls himself the coyote, right? And he always dresses in coyote gear, and sure enough, the guy was there, and they put him
Oh,
up on
cool.
the Spurs Twitter, and he was all decked out in coyote gear. And I just finished seeing the guy like about a week ago over at the 151 Saloon on Highway 151 because I was watching the
Oh,
Cowboys play, and he
right.
was there with some of the other guys that dress up in costume and whatnot. Great group of guys, they just like to support the team,
Aw.
but that's what they like to do. Every fan wants
Yeah.
their 5 minutes of fame, and he got his, and then you had some other guys that are out there dressed in costumes and luchador mask and the usual subject suspects. Spurs Nation, the guy that dresses in luchador mask was out there, so shout out to him. Another guy that's been a fan favorite that dresses up in a old man getup with the big old wig and everything, holding the cutout of the old Spurs logo, silver and black.
Oh,
His name is Old School McGee. He was up there and they showcased him on the
that's
jumbotron,
so
and everybody was all
cool.
excited. So it's good to see these interactions with the fans,
Yes.
and just getting your first look too at some of these
Mhm.
players. It's an exciting time for the fans for this silver and black scrimmage. I know that you were probably following along online, and then you got to see maybe some of the pictures and stuff that was coming along on the Twitter feed. What did you think of
Mhm.
it, of the silver and black scrimmage?
It was awesome. I've gotten to go to it in the past, and yeah, like just like you said, like growing up, it's hard for families, with multiple kids to be able to go to games, and we would go to the games and sit on the top. But I remember being excited every time we could go to the scrimmage because we'd be in like the rich people seats.
The
Like
lower
we'd get to
bowl.
sit on the bottom. Yeah, exactly, the lower bowl. And it was a big, was really meaningful to me getting to be that close. The players are really interactive with the fans during the scrimmage because it's all for fun, and they know everyone there is a Spurs fan. And I got to see that yesterday, even just watching through the stream. I liked seeing their faces light up, playing in front of Spurs fans again. I know that toward the end of last season, fans were welcomed back in, but it seemed like there was a pretty nice turnout, and I think some of them were pretty pleasantly surprised to have that many people cheering them on. And it was nice to see them kind of trying to hold back like smiles and like trying not to look too giddy, but you could tell they were excited and
Yeah.
happy that a lot of these young guys, they have fans, and it was nice. It was really cute.
One of the nice things that I liked at the end, near the end of the game, was a nice touch where they went ahead and some of the players signed like T-shirts,
Yes, I
some
saw
some little
that.
black Spurs basketballs, and they threw them
That's
out
so
to the
cool.
fans. And then who doesn't want to get not only a free shirt but one that's autographed by one of the players? That's pretty
Yeah,
cool. And then I saw
that's
Dejounte
awesome.
go into the stands, and hand a little ball to a little kid, and then another Spurs fan. He
Mhm.
took the time to go ahead and take a selfie with him. So you're getting a little
Aw,
bit more interaction out of the players than you normally would on a game day,
exactly.
because if you go on a game day, there's like a bubble around it, because they have
Yes.
security and they're like, what are you doing? You can't come over here. You can't get near
Yeah.
them. So it's a little bit more relaxed. So there's your opportunity to take a selfie. If you're in close proximity with one of the players, you can probably ask them, hey, can I take a picture? And they'll probably come over
Aw,
and take one with you. So
that's so cool.
it was really
Aw.
cool. And I thought another nice little touch there near the end of the game. I think there was like 11 seconds left, right? Something like that.
Oh, yes.
And Coach Bob comes out and he's like, you know what? This thing is over. We're going to go ahead and
Yeah.
call it, and they just go ahead and run the clock down because it's a scrimmage. And then he
Yes.
calls what is it? He called Keldon out
Derek, Keldon, and,
and Josh
Primo.
Primo. Yeah, so I think he called Keldon out first, and Keldon comes out all tired, and they're doing the free throws for sprints. So if
Yes.
you make both free throws, you don't have to run
You don't have to
sprints.
sprint,
Yeah.
right?
So Keldon's tired, he makes both of them. He's probably like, "Oh, thank God I don't got to run." So then they
Yes.
get Derek, and Derek makes both, and they're like, "All right, nobody has to do it." And then Coach Pop is like, "No, no, no, no. Let's get Primo out. Let's see if you really have to run sprints." And he brings Primo out, and
Aw,
I think he's doing it because he has confidence in the
the
kid, kind
rookie.
of like a
Yeah.
reward for really putting on a show, doing good.
Yes.
So he brings him out because he also know he's a fan favorite, and then you hear the chants,
That
"Primo,
was so
Primo,"
cool.
and the fans are clapping and chanting, and the
Aw.
kid almost misses one, but it just rolls in. Then he makes the second one, and then everybody's all happy, and Coach Pop's like, "All right,
Yes.
get out of here,"
That's
That's
it.
it, we're done. But it was a really cool moment just to
That was
see
super cute.
that little interaction. So I liked it.
Yes.
I loved it. I know you did too.
Yes, definitely. It was super nice to see that. And yeah, I liked seeing, Josh Primo go up to the line and his face was just like, I'm cool, I'm cool. But you could tell he was like, trying to hide a smile because he was really excited to
Yes.
hear those cheers and chants.
Oh, who doesn't want to hear your name chanted, you know?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that means that the fans actually love you and that you're hearing those
Yeah.
chants, and it means that your confidence is going to grow because they believe in you and they like what you're doing out there on the court. They love your game, you know? So
Exactly.
that's why I'm like, this kid's already got, San Antonio in the palm of his hand, you know?
He does.
They're just,
He's everyone's cousin.
yeah,
Everyone's primo.
he's my primo, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the HEB commercials to come out where he's
Yes.
gonna be
Primo picks.
primo picks. There you go.
Yeah.
Even Vicky knows, you like those
Yeah.
primo picks.
Yep.
So that's gonna be coming out.
Gotta
And
do it.
speaking of that, Vicky, they did show
Yes.
some of the behind the scenes stuff from the HEB commercials with the Spurs, some of the younger Spurs in spacesuits and playing with puppies and all this kind of stuff going
Oh, I
on.
saw that one.
I'm like, who doesn't love this? I mean, how excited are you for the
Yeah.
HEB Spurs HEB commercials?
They must have gotten so excited when they were asked, like the players that were asked to be in the HEB commercials. I mean, it's become such a thing, like, and what do you call it? Like an elite group of players get to do that. So it's exciting. I'm excited. I know, now we know a couple of them that are going to be on there because of social media, but I'm excited to see what they bring to it. All new faces, all young
All new
guys. It's going to
faces.
be fun.
It's a whole new cast, Vicky. A whole new
It
cast.
is. It
So it's
is.
going to be
Oh,
very interesting to see what happens. And usually they play them, I believe, during the first game of the regular season
oh,
because they usually show that. Or I think they wait for the first game to show on Ken's Five, or the first game of the regular season
oh, right.
is when they show it, right? And then the second game is when they show the second half of the commercials. So we're gonna probably get them all.
Oh,
Yeah, first two games of the
nice.
season. They'll show you half, and then they'll show
And
you
then the other
the
half.
other half.
Oh, that's so exciting.
But you have to be quick,
Yay.
because if you go up and you go to the bathroom or get something to eat,
Right.
you'll miss it.
Can't miss him.
Yeah, you'll
Gotta
miss it.
record those games.
Yeah, so make sure you do set your DVR so you can go
Yes.
back and watch them. But speaking of all the fun things that we talked about with the silver and
Yes.
black scrimmage, Josh Primo, you know, and having fun with the Spurs having fun with the fans, comes something a little bit more serious, and that is Spurs still got to cut somebody by October the 18th, Vicky.
Yes.
Who is it going to be? I thought it might be Aminu, but they ran him out there during the silver and black scrimmage, and the guy
I
was knocking
saw
down some
that.
shots.
I
So
was
I'm
kinda
like,
like
Drew Eubanks. Drew Eubanks was knocking down threes. The guy was working on his shot in the off season. I mean, he's deadly. He looked deadly from behind the arc in the
he
silver and black scrimmage.
did.
And he had a couple dunks. I think he had like two dunks for the game. One of them was in transition. So I'm like, I like his
I
game.
know.
Who you
I
cut,
like him too
Vicky?
much.
Who you gonna cut?
I don't know. The only other person I can think of is Keita Bates-Diop, who I also like. I can't choose a player that I honestly could be like, and it's funny because it makes sense that if I had to choose before, I would have said Luka. Like that would have been one of my choices that I think he's just, doesn't fit. But now I I'm really curious to see what they're going to do because I think they need most of the guys that we're talking about. They need that. They need those positions. So it's really hard to decide. I think I have no idea. Maybe some sort of, I don't know. I can't even think of what they're thinking right now. I think it's probably really hard on them too because they've got some really talented players.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna answer some questions here. Somebody's asking me if I was at the game last night. Brady ruined ATL again. He goes, "Were you at the game last night?" I was like, "No, I wasn't at the game last night. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make it out there. I wanted to make it out there, but I had an appointment with my daughter. She had a dental appointment, and unfortunately, that dental appointment took so dang long, that it
Aw.
really ate into the time that I could go out there. Plus, then they kind of numbed her mouth, so I couldn't leave her by herself, all drooling and everything.
Oh.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and have to stay home. One of the perks of being a dad. Unfortunately, no matter how bad you want to do some things happen.
Yes.
So it happens.
Yeah.
We also have another fan watching us. His name is Demonte Carter. He's talking about Josh Primo. He says he's not going to the G League. He's skipping all that G League
I hope
stuff.
I hope not.
He will be in the rotation. You know
I
what?
really hope so. I honestly do. For this one, I think he's a rarity, and I'd love to see him start with the Spurs.
I would like to see him start with the Spurs at some point in time. I just don't think it's going to be this season, but I do hope that at least maybe he gets called up, for a couple games or something.
Yeah,
You know,
hopefully.
that'll be exciting. And then what if he does good when he's called up?
Yeah.
Then it's going to make it that much harder for them to send him back. So
Yes.
we'll see what
Just
happens with
like what
him.
happened with DeJounte, kind of.
Yeah,
But we don't want that. We don't want
no.
injuries.
But
No
getting back
injuries.
to who are they going to cut? That's a
Mhm.
quite a conundrum. We don't know who exactly they're going to cut because everybody else that you have on the roster right now, you've kind of like.
They're valuable,
I
yeah.
think at the end of the day, I'd have to say that it all points to Aminu. I'd hate to see the guy go, but at this point in time, he's only played a very limited number of minutes, something like
True.
10 minutes in all of the preseason games, so far. There's been a lot of DNPs for Aminu. He got some run in the silver and black scrimmage because, the Spurs wanted to kind of see what some of their other players had. And, Lonnie Walker
Mhm.
didn't get any run yesterday because he has a thigh contusion. So they're kind of,
Right.
error on caution with him, kind of sitting him out a little bit. But I don't know. Something just tells me that it might be Aminu that they wind up cutting. I think Keita Bates Diop, they're kind of still high on the kid and they want to see how he can develop. Why would you give up on him that quick? It makes no sense. So all fingers to me are pointing to the odd man out, which
Aminu.
would be Aminu. So
Mhm.
it'll be unfortunate, if they do
It
in fact.
will.
And then what be even worse is if he goes to another team and just balls out with them,
That's
you know.
always my biggest fear.
And then Spurs fans will be upset if they cut Amino and he does well with another team, and then it'll be even more insult to injury if he does well when they play against the
Yes.
Spurs.
And that's always the case because it's like, they wanna show off to their
Well, you always
previous
want to
team and
beat the team that cut you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then we have
It
another
makes sense.
comment here from Brady Ruined ATL. I love that, by the way. He says it has to be Amino cut. He's agreeing. And then he has another comment here. He goes, KBD just signed a 2-year contract. So there you go. Can't be him. So we will just have to wait and see because that deadline is fast approaching. The season does start next Tuesday.
Yes.
The NBA season does. So something's got to give. So we're
Yeah, I'm not sure.
so let's go ahead and talk about something else that's been high up there with Spurs fans, and that's going to be Spurs fans anticipating the new leak of the Spurs City Edition jerseys. I've shared some of the
Yes.
concepts, they've been circulating out there. I've shared some of the news, shared some of the boxes
Right.
that some of the preseason holders had been taking pictures of and sharing on various social media channels, and they're kind of revealing what the jersey might look like. They have like a diamond and it's a white box with the Spurs Fiesta colors on them. Even inside the box, you're getting a white cup with the Fiesta colors, a white flag with the Fiesta colors, a little pin that's that resembles a jersey. Yes, it's white with the Fiesta colors. All hands are indications are pointing to the Spurs City Edition jerseys are going to be white, and they're going to have the Fiesta colors thrown in there somehow.
Right.
But another thing that I have heard is that the Spurs City Edition jerseys are also going to have the retro font that they had way back when in the George Gervin days that said San Antonio, draped across the chest. Uh,
Ooh.
and on the diamond on the shorts, they're going to have the Spurs logo, and then they're going to have the retro logo on the other side. So one thigh will have the current logo, the other thigh is going to have a retro logo. That is the consensus of some of
Oh.
the things that I've heard as well. Um, so it's just a wait and see. I will say this though. I did check the Spurs website right before we came on to do Spurs Rewind, and it's acting a little funky, which means that they are doing maintenance on the site at this point in time. You only do maintenance on the site because you're preparing it for what? The release of the City Edition jerseys. From what I've been hearing, that might actually be sometime tonight because they're going to have to go ahead and release the picks of some kind. They're going to have to. I was expecting that they might be late last night, but that didn't happen. But now with the
Yeah.
Spurs doing maintenance on the website, and they're probably doing maintenance on the NBA.com as well to get the City Edition picks and the renderings all ready to go. I'm really anticipating that will actually drop sometime tonight. So definitely I'll keep an eye on it. But Spurs fans are very excited about these City Edition jerseys. Vicky, are you really feeling the white jersey with the Fiesta colors? What are you thinking?
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Um, yes, I am feeling that. I was a huge fan of the Fiesta themed jerseys last season. Um, I will continue being a fan of the Fiesta themed jerseys just because they're so, I guess, nostalgic for me. They remind me of the Spurs of my childhood. So yeah, I will totally buy those. I know that I saw someone tweeted, I think it was Noah Magaro. He tweeted that a source told him the same, like you're saying, white with the Fiesta trim, diamond sort of thing, like the retro thing on one side, and then the logo on the other. If it's what I'm seeing in my head, I will totally buy that.
Yes.
I think that it's going to be a huge hit again, and I think that the players really love the Fiesta treatment last year, and so hopefully, it gets some good response this time. And I'm hoping they do the whole court, everything, just like last year. Maybe add to it a little bit, but just really getting the whole thing set up so that it's this whole cool package, taking everyone back to the '90s Spurs feeling.
The one thing that I miss more than anything is seeing the old school court from the 90s. The retro court that you
With the
saw at the
Spurs.
Alamo
Oh,
Dome.
it would be great.
Bring that back. I mean, I'm all for the Fiesta, tribal that they
Colors.
have around the little
Mhm.
accent that they have around the court, but bring back that aesthetic, that
That would
teal
be
and the
awesome.
pink.
The court, like
Yes.
the little thing.
It looks so cool
Yeah.
because it was all black around and it said San Antonio. You know, it
Yes,
looked really
and just,
cool.
like, the really thin font.
Yes. I want to
Yes.
see that again. If they're going to do it right. Bring back that court. That would actually make Spurs fans very, very excited. You
That
know,
would be awesome.
but
And other teams have done it where they
yeah,
bring back the old court. So
yeah.
I don't see why the Spurs couldn't do that.
Just as long as they don't,
That would be beautiful.
yeah, just as long as they don't bring the camo back. I can do without it. I understand we are a
Oh,
military city,
yeah.
but man, just dealing
Mm.
camo and camo year after year after year, kind of.
Ugh,
And can we do something
yeah.
about the gray, the just the gray jerseys? I just think they're so bland. You know?
Yes. I've never liked them. I wish they would do a silver one, like the old school ones that were, like,
Yes.
silver, but, of course, I guess that'd be really hot material because it's, like, metallic,
I don't know,
but
because then it would
I
look
don't know,
like
the
a
gray.
balloon or something. Like silvery color,
True.
like a mylar
That's true.
balloon.
Yes.
Maybe they should do it like another thing is if they're I understand everybody likes the Fiesta colors and whatnot, but I'm hoping that at some point in time they'll kind of take a page and go back to that old silver and black aesthetic. You know how they used to have it at the in the early days of the AT&T
Oh,
Center,
yeah.
that they had the logo in the middle of the court. Bring back
I
the
like
silver
that
and black.
too.
That was cool too. Maybe
Yeah.
bring that back and maybe go and do something with like the George Gervin jerseys. Bring those back. That would be cool.
That would be very cool. From what it sounds like, though, the side of the shorts will have that diamond like George Gervin's,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They should wear the
It was on the
short shorts
box.
too.
Yeah, it was on the box. No, not the short shorts, Vicky.
No, no, short shorts.
No, we could do without that. Don't bring that back.
Yeah.
I'm already getting like ooh, getting chills just thinking of that. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, no. Those are too short.
Yeah, but
Too short.
before we go ahead and end the show, I wanted to go ahead and bring some news out here. Our good friend Paul Garcia from Project Spurs, he went ahead and released the injury report for tomorrow's final preseason game, and that's going to be against the Houston Rockets. And it looks like we're going to have, the usual suspects out, which is going to be Zach Collins because he's still nursing his, that fracture surgery he had on his ankle. Trey Jones is going to be out. He's got an ankle sprain. Jack Landale is going to miss because of the concussion protocols. And we're also going to, we have Lonnie Walker is questionable. I really think he's going to
Okay.
play, but he has that high right or left quad contusion. I think they still run him out there, to keep him going, keep him in his
I
rhythm,
hope so.
because we want to see him do well. And when you're stopping a player from not playing, you're kind of messing with the rhythm. You want to at least get him a couple minutes, even if it's just a 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Get him out there, run him out there, and then sit him if you want. But I really think he's going to play tomorrow in the final preseason game. So look for that. But as far as we know, some of the other players are going to be missing, such as Trey Jones, which we haven't seen a heck of a lot in preseason right now. And Jock Landau, I really like his game. I was looking forward to seeing him play, but with the concussion protocol, you got to err on the side of caution. So I understand if he doesn't
Yeah.
play. So you're going to watch the last preseason game of the season, Vicky. This one will be on Bally
Yeah.
Sports.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Then yeah, I'll definitely be watching it. That'll be easier because having to watch from the stream, I have to use my phone and I'm like, I can't do anything.
You can
I just have to
cast.
sit here.
You can
What?
cast. You can cast from your phone.
Yes, but then anytime I tried to use my phone while I was casting, it would just show whatever I was doing. So I was
Oh,
like,
true that.
ugh.
You just don't want to see all your the TikTok videos you're
Yeah.
watching up on the screen.
Normally I do them, I have this screen, I have the other screen.
So there you go.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and bring this episode of the Spurs Rewind to a close. And look at we before we do, let's go ahead and read a comment here from Brady Ruined ATL. He puts, "What if they got Chaparral jerseys? That would be pretty dope as well. We
That
really
would be
haven't seen
very
that.
cool.
Yeah,
They're like the blue with the green or something like that,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
They are, and they have the little
Yeah.
Roadrunner on it, the Chaparrals. Back way
Yeah,
back
that would
when.
be nice.
So maybe they do something like that too. That would be a nice touch. So we'll see. There's
Yes,
still a lot of time for them to do a lot of different things. We'll see what they do moving
definitely.
forward. But as we bring the show to a close, Vicky, I don't have the graphic ready, but where can they visit you on
Oh,
social media?
no. Okay, they can visit me at the Vicky Vix, TheVickievix on Twitter.
There you go. And you
Twitter.
can also visit me or interact with me at Two Shots Podcast. It's all spelled out TWO Two Shots Podcast. But with me and Vicky, like to talk with anything that's going on in the world of sports. But Vicky is really high on Formula One racing, so that's your gal right there. Talk to her about Formula One racing, and she also likes to watch anything that has to do with the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes,
So she is a geek at
yes,
heart. You can go ahead and geek out with
I
Vicky
am.
as well. So go ahead and hit her up if you want to go ahead and discuss, anything that has to do with the MCU. And me too. I like to watch the MCU stuff that's going on Disney Plus, Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So if you got any
Me too.
recommendations of new shows that we should be watching, please let us know. We'd like the recommendations, especially if they're scary movies, because it is the month of horror. You got anything you want us to
Woo.
watch? Let us know. We'd love to watch it. You know. So as we bring the show to a close here, let's go ahead and give a big shout out to our sponsor here, DraftKings, and make sure you go ahead and go to DraftKings either online or use the app, and make sure you do use the code TBPN when you sign up, so you can get a free shot at winning up to $50,000 in total cash and prizes. So for Vicky Vix, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Spurs Rewind. And like we always say, spread the love, stop the hate, and be kind. We're out. Peace.